Welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast, where we explore therapy, Kundalini Yoga, and all things holistic wellness. I'm Hannah Zachney, LMFT, International Retreat Leader, and Curious Human. Whether you're tuning into us via social media or any of the major podcast platforms, we're so grateful to have you here. Here's to opening our hearts and exploring life together. Welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. Today, we are blessed to have Alice Nicolai, who has been a friend of mine and is also a registered dietitian and a Bikram yoga teacher, and all things wellness, fun, and she always makes me giggle and just feel good. So I know that we're going to have a fantastic time today. As a reminder, the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast is featuring people that are just living with their heart wide open, that are contributing in a holistic and mindful way. And we are composed of retreats. We have one coming up in Morocco and then in Thailand in the spring of 2026. We have a very extensively trained team of therapists and a women's membership, along with many supportive groups for different therapeutic avenues. So today, Alice is going to share with us some of her just wisdom and heart, and I know you're going to be with your heart wide open this whole time. So thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So on a professional note, Alice, again, is a dietitian. She is a Bikram yoga teacher, which we're going to have to talk about both of those aspects because I was addicted to Bikram for a while. I haven't practiced in a long time. Yeah, it was years that I only did that. California born and raised a mother of 2 adult sons, married 31 years and registered dietitian for 33 years, also a part-time Bikram yoga teacher for 24 years currently, employed by the state of California, dog owner and lover of nature, hiking, traveling, healthy cooking, eating, but making it simple. And I think that making that simple, I mean, all that's just so amazing. And the making it simple is something that we were talking about before we even just started. And just I say this all the time in my work that the more, it doesn't matter, the more trainings I learn, the more modalities I understand, the more wisdom and wiser and like teachers and books and everything that I absorb, really, truly, the simpler the recipe is to just living a healthy, happy existence. Do you agree?
Yes, I totally agree.
How have you seen that?
Well, just in my own life and practice and the way that I eat and the way that I see the information out there and what is accessible and easy for people is just going back to basics and eating real whole foods. I think that often we get caught up in the minutia of the different messages that are out there in the media and now social media. Just everyone has an opinion. Everybody has a message to say about what to eat, how to eat. And I think you have to be careful with who you're listening to as well, because a lot of people don't have the background or the credentials to be giving information. But what it all boils down to, that what works is just simple, easy, basic foods. Like if it came from nature, that's what you should eat.
Yeah.
If it's manufactured in a plant or a factory, probably not so good. So stick with what nature made and you'll be pretty good. And don't overeat, which it's hard to overeat those natural foods. So
it's a built-in system.
It's a built-in system. It just automatically works. And then move your body, because that's how we were designed to live. Think about how our ancestors lived. They ate simple foods and they had to go hunt and gather for those foods. And now with technology, which as great as technology is, it's taken away our ability to move. We can, at the click of a phone, get food sent to our doorstep, not even have to go out and buy it or make it. And the convenience of convenience foods, it's, a little bit goes a long way, but over relying on those types of foods is what gets and has gotten people into trouble. It's why our obesity rates are as high as they are. So with as much information that we currently have, unfortunately, the statistics don't reveal that our health is any better for it, even though we have all this information and we know better, but are we doing better? And I think the question is, how can we do better if you want to, because not everybody does.
Right. And this is a personal choice. So
exactly. It's how we eat is such a personal choice. That's why when people know that I'm a dietitian, I don't go around preaching information. If they want to know things or they ask me questions, I'm certainly happy to entertain that. But what I'm always going to say is going back to basics. People often ask, is this diet good? Should I be doing this diet or that diet? Keto, paleo? And you know what? It's just eat real food.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
eat real food. And then to speak to that place where, yes, on social media specifically, there's so many people claiming to, well, and I don't even know if they're claiming to be an expert errantly there, although that does exist. It's often just this worked for me. And so I'm promoting this way of doing it where it may have worked for this
Sure.
person, but
Right.
it may not be good for all people.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Yes.
so I know for you also part of that is, well, navigating the information, trusting your sources or researching your sources, but then it's also trusting your own intuition, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
being like very in tune with your own body and your own
Absolutely.
experience. And
Absolutely. And that's one thing when people say, oh, blood type diet or this, or oh, we
Mhm.
should all eliminate this food. I don't believe that. I think pay attention to how food makes you feel. If you eat something and it doesn't agree with you, obviously
Mhm.
it's not for you. Don't eat that food. But to make a
Right.
blanket recommendation that everyone needs to avoid XYZ food is
Yeah.
not applicable. And that those stories that you're talking about are very anecdotal. And again, what
Mhm.
worked for one person doesn't mean that it works for everybody.
Mhm.
But there's so much information out there, and everybody's got a platform. It seems these days. So
Mhm.
just be mindful of that and really listen
Mhm.
to what you're hearing, and
Mhm.
and see if it's that person's story or if it's evidence based. If there's been
Mhm.
large research studies that are looking at multiple people to
Mhm.
produce these recommendations. But again, intuitive, like listen to your body,
Mhm.
see how you feel when you're eating certain foods.
Mhm.
Assess your energy level,
Yeah.
assess your how do you feel when
Are
you
you
eat this
sleeping
food,
well? Are you
right?
feeling bloated? Are you feeling, yeah,
Absolutely. Like pay
your
attention.
joints hurt? Yeah, all
Yeah,
these are.
pay attention. Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's something that I wish people would do more of, is just really paying attention and not taking what they eat for granted.
Mhm.
Really pay attention. And when you're eating something, what are you eating and how does it make you feel in your body?
Mhm.
And if you notice a pattern of something, it doesn't agree with you, then it's probably not for you. But
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, most healthy natural foods are going to be okay
Yeah.
for most people. But there are some that are not. There's allergies or intolerances. We have to respect that. So,
Absolutely.
right. Yeah.
How do you advise somebody who isn't in the habit of paying attention to their body cues? And then I also just think there's so many people that most of us don't have a lot of extra time, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, I don't have time for one more thing. So
Right.
like, what would be like a baby step for somebody that isn't as tuned in that way? Do you recommend food journaling? Do
I
you, yeah.
absolutely do. I had a
Hmm.
private practice for a very small amount of time some years ago, and that is the number one thing that I would have people
Yeah.
start with is
Hmm.
write down what you're eating. I want to
Hmm.
know what you're eating and drinking from the time you get up to the time you go to bed.
Hmm.
Just write it down.
Hmm.
And it wasn't for me so much as it was for the client to see,
Hmm.
oh, this is what I'm doing. Because a lot of times people don't even realize what they're eating,
Yeah.
and they have no idea why they feel good or bad.
Right.
And if you have something on paper or your phone or whatever your
Hmm.
journal preference is of choice, then you can often see, oh my gosh, I ate this, or I ate a whole bag of that, and oh my gosh, no wonder I felt so sluggish at this time,
Right.
or I didn't even eat until 1 o'clock
Yep.
p.m. or whatever. So track time, track how you felt, those things. So I would always start with the food journal to see where people's current habits were, what they were doing, so that they could
Hmm.
see. It's like a
Hmm.
mirror. This journal is going to be a mirror to reflect
Yeah.
what you're doing, because oftentimes people don't know. If I ask any random person, what did you eat yesterday,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have they'd really have to stop and scratch their head.
What did you do yesterday?
Yeah,
I
and
still
let
have to
alone what
scratch
you
my
ate.
head, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. For most of us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know, and I would add, which I'm sure you do add this when you do it, but working with people sometimes that have disordered eating patterns or are struggling with maybe relying on food to cope with their emotions or wherever they might be in their life, it's also valuable to acknowledge, how were you feeling before you ate? How hungry were you before you ate? How satiated were you? How did you feel after the food? And then that can tie into, and I'm sure you know this, but like can tie in some of the more the psychological or the behavioral patterns or the self-shaming, like the foods that you allow yourself and don't allow yourself to
Yeah.
have. I
Oh,
mean,
huge.
it can go, and I just think our culture, we do get so busy, and it seems like such a pain, I guess, and a burden to like journal all day, and to do that. But I mean, one of my favorite quotes in the entire world is it's a John Kabat-Zinn quote, and it's longer, and I always shorten it, but it's basically the essence is if you don't know where you are, you go in circles.
Mhm.
So doing that journaling, even if you just did it for a day a week,
Yeah.
just to kind of reset yourself and go, Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I had forgotten, like this week I felt great, but that's because or I felt bad. And then like it kind of does, it's just so
It's a
valuable.
good reset button.
Hmm.
Absolutely, for sure. I think everyone can benefit from doing it.
Yeah.
Most definitely. But it's something you mentioned about with the disordered eating, that is also an aspect of paying attention to your hunger and satiety
Hmm.
cues is
Hmm.
huge, because so many people, we've all done it, eat out
Hmm.
of stress, boredom, anxiety,
Hmm.
depression, elation, the
Hmm.
myriad of moods that we reach for something. And so paying attention to that, asking yourself, why am I eating right now? Am I eating because I truly am hungry,
Right.
or because I'm bored, or I'm scared, or
Hmm.
I just want to full time? What
Hmm.
is that? So
Hmm.
getting people to pay attention to their hunger and satiety cues is
Hmm.
another thing that I would definitely
Yeah.
be having people pay attention to and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're looking into the more deeper levels of disorder eating, then it's definitely helpful to have a mental health professional on tap as well,
Hmm.
because that's something as dietitians that certainly dietitians can specialize in that domain, but
Hmm.
we definitely want the professional that's geared towards dealing with mental health issues
Hmm.
to address those things, because they're often deeper levels than most dietitians can deal with, because we can
Yeah.
help with the food and the journaling, but there's often a deeper level of
Yeah.
care that's needed to unravel the eating
Yeah, and that's
disorder aspect.
exactly why I wanted you here today, because that's why some of our clients struggle with those kinds of things, and we need that part, and they need this part, and so
Yep.
this is the merging of this conversation. It's just
Multidisciplinary.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, absolutely, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And not lost on me is you're also a yoga teacher and a practitioner, and that practice, the journey of yoga, the practice, the never mastering, the always practicing, is a way to be in your body and to understand those cues personally and to just be able to receive the messages in a very intentional way. So tell us your path with food. How did you become a dietitian? Where does yoga fit in?
Oh gosh,
What's
so
your story?
a lot to say there. I've always been interested in science. When I was a kid, I loved biology. I loved science. I had a mom who was a nurse, so I was always tapped into health. I started my college career as a genetics major. I thought I wanted to do genetic counseling and get a PhD in genetics. I started off at UC Davis doing that, and then I got a job in a lab with other graduate students that were working towards these PhDs that I thought I wanted. I saw how much time they spent in the lab, and I thought, oh my goodness, I love science, but I also really love people, and I love talking to people. So I don't think this may not be for me.
Hmm.
One day I found myself wandering to the nutrition department on campus, into the academic advising department, met this lovely woman named Pat, who sat down and told me the different nutrition majors that UC Davis offered. And she said, if you want to be viable in the nutrition world, you should become a registered dietitian.
Hmm.
And here's the major that puts you on that
Hmm.
pathway. Once you graduate here, you need to go get a dietetic internship, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, that sounds really interesting, because she said, here's all the science courses that you take. I'm like, oh, great. I still get to take all these science courses, which I love, but then I'm actually going to be doing something with helping people with their health.
Hmm.
And me growing up with stomach issues of my own, which is a whole other story, I was interested in that. Also, I didn't grow up having the most healthy diet, so I was making my food choices better at that time, living independently in college. So I decided I'm going to change my major. Majored in dietetics, and then went off, and I knew I needed to do this dietetic internship program. I met a woman who became my mentor,
Hmm.
who opened my eyes to other opportunities that dietitians could have. Going to school the way that I did, very traditionally trained as a dietitian, the most popular avenues for focus were clinical dietetics and food service. And there's definitely a place and a space for those types of dietitians, but I inherently knew I don't I don't want to work in a hospital where
Hmm.
I mean, there's a space for that, don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
I want to prevent people from being in the
Hmm.
hospital. I want to
But the
educate
before
them.
care versus the
Yes,
aftercare. Hmm.
exactly, exactly. And I want to prevent them from ending up in the hospital in the first
Hmm.
place. So my mind frame was more towards health promotion, disease prevention, but my undergraduate program was not tailored to that. So meeting this woman who became my mentor kind of opened my eyes to there's other avenues. She was a public speaker. She did these education classes for other health professionals,
Hmm.
CEU
Yeah.
units.
Yeah.
I thought, I want to do what she's doing.
Yeah.
And I saw behind her name
Isn't
were
it so
these,
great when somebody comes into your life like that? That
yeah,
you just,
they can just,
that's,
it was the right person
yes.
at the right time, which I have to thank my mom for introducing me
Hmm.
to this woman. And I went to one of her classes and I was mesmerized. I'm like, I want to do what she's doing.
Yeah.
I saw the RD behind the name, and I also saw MPH what's an MPH? So I went and I met
All the
this woman.
letters.
All the
Yeah.
letters. What are these letters? Do I
Yes.
need these letters? I don't know. So I met with her and she told me, oh, I have my master's in public health and I got it at UC Berkeley, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. And I thought, oh, and I looked into the program. It was a combined dietetic internship program with a master's degree for one extra year of your life. Because most dietetic internships are a year. This was a 2-year program. You get 2 for 1. You become an RD and have your
sounding
master's.
better and better.
Better and better. And I'm so glad I did that. I was fortunate enough to get into Berkeley. I wanted to do exactly what she did. Got into Berkeley, went straight from undergrad to graduate school at UC Berkeley, got my master's in public health. During that time, I was interested in marketing nutrition and putting positive messages about nutrition out in the public, because I thought, gosh, we have all these commercials for all this unhealthy food we see all the time on TV. Growing up in the 70s and 80s.
And they make good commercials. They're entertaining.
They're entertaining, they're fun, but they've got the big money. And
they do.
The companies that have the big money are the food that is not the healthy food. So I thought, well, if we can market and make commercials for unhealthy food, why can't we do that for healthy food? So that became an interest of mine. I also was very interested in educating children and teenagers to make positive health choices, because I thought if they're not getting it at home, maybe they could get those messages in the school. And so that kind of became my focus. Also in the back of my mind was always doing education in a public speaking sort of way. So something told me at Davis, like, okay, I need to also minor in rhetoric and communication. So I'm going to major in dietetics. I'm going to minor in rhetoric and communication. And then I'm going to go get I got my master's, and things kind of evolved from there. I ended up working for a number of, one of my professors at the time at Davis for different research studies. So right after I got done with my schooling, I started working for different research studies. One of which was the infamous.
I mean, that whole process is a whole nother learning, right? And understanding.
Yeah, it was. And I'm glad I did that. But one of the studies that I worked for was the infamous Women's Health Initiative study back in the early 90s. I worked on the dietary arm of the study, which would come into play later in my life now as a postmenopausal woman, that study and the importance of it. But it was interesting to have that come full circle for me. But worked for that study, just did a lot of interesting jobs at the time, working for different research studies, and got to teach at Sac State for 6 years now. I think it was 6 years I taught at Sac State, just a basic nutrition course. Had a private practice for a little bit. So that's kind of my background of
passionate with the field.
Yeah, totally. Passionate, just it kind of evolved. So I didn't get to do exactly what my mentor did, but in a way I kind of did. It was just the opportunities that came my way were meant for me, but I really tried to do exactly what she was doing. But you know what? It all worked out in the end, because I'm happy with the things that I did early on in my career.
Well, it sounds like you really listened to the little insights and the little calls and the inspirations.
I did.
And you took action towards everything that you needed to do.
Absolutely. And opportunities that came my way, I they sounded fun to me. And so I did them. And I never was a clinical dietitian, never stepped foot in that space. And I was, I loved the things that I did, and I enjoy what I'm doing now, but it's a little different because it is a little bit more clinically focused, my job, but, and food service to a degree, but I didn't ever think I'd end up where I am now, but that's okay. I did a lot of really interesting things early on in my career, and part of that was also the yoga stuff.
And so speak to that. How did you find that, and how does that complement food for you?
Okay.
And
absolutely. So my beginnings with the fitness and exercise world started when I was 12 years old, and I have my grandma to thank for that. My grandma, which my grandparents were pivotal in my life, exposed me to my first gym experience back in 1979, took me to an all-women's gym.
Gosh, the 70s, that are great.
It was such a good time. I want to go back. I want to go back
to maybe 80s, but yes.
70s, 80s. I loved it. I'm so glad that we grew up in that era. But anyways, she took me to an all-women's gym, which had all this funky equipment, and I loved it. I'm like, I want to live here. And so I got really into that. During high school, the aerobics era, was into it, did the gym, did aerobics, did the step aerobics thing in high school, took a weightlifting class in high school, took a dance class in high school, got very comfortable in the gym. I was exposed to it at 12 years old. It was not a big deal for me. I
moving
felt
your body,
moving my body, being in the body. Wasn't an athlete per se. I never did school sports. I would have liked to, but I never went to the schools that were close to my neighborhood. Being raised by a single mom, it was, it was a lot to navigate for her. So, but was always interested in movement. So I did the gym thing, then fast forward into college. My college boyfriend at the time at Davis taught me the proper way and mechanics of proper weightlifting.
Yeah.
So got into that, learned, here's how to
It's a great skill set to know. And then set you free in the gym.
Set you free in the gym, got continued in the gym space at college and then graduate school in the gym space at Gold's Gym back in the heyday, doing all the things at Gold's Gym. So did that, then fast forward into my 30s, I thought, well, I've got a lot of weight stuff going on. And I looked at my body and I was like, it's, I mean, I'm fortunate because it's fairly easy for me to gain muscle, but I wanted something that was kind of to elongate the body more. And so I was drawn to the aesthetic approach of yoga. Not gonna lie, like I got into just
you wanted the yoga bot.
I wanted the yoga bot. I want the muscles, but I also want the leaner. I want to stretch. I need to. I felt like my body needs something else. Got attracted to Bikram yoga because I saw some people that I liked that were doing it. So I got interested in that, but then I also at the same time started vinyasa. So I was going to these two studios in Granite Bay, one vinyasa, one Bikram, was doing them both simultaneously. Loved them both. But when it came down to it, I could only afford to keep going to one studio. So I thought, well, which one speaks to me of what I need right now? And what I loved about Bikram was that it's a very intense, disciplinary type of yoga. It's extreme with the hot and all of that. And being in that room,
it's very extreme.
It's so extreme. It's not for everybody. I understand that. But for me at the time, I felt like if I can survive being in this room, I think I can survive anything. I have anxiety. So to me, it kind of sparked anxiety to me to be in that room. I'm not going to lie. There were times that I did.
Well, it's like exposure therapy. You're like, I'm going to spike my own anxiety so that I have to. And for those people that don't know what Bikram is, can you explain what it is?
Bikram yoga is a 90-minute yoga class with 26 postures, 2 breathing exercises, done in a 105-degree room with 40% humidity. That's the traditional class.
It is hot, people.
It's very hot. And it's bright lights, it's mirrors, it's kind of in-your-face yoga.
It's aggressive. Confrontive yoga.
Yeah, it's very confrontive. Now the space has been watered down quite a bit for a number of reasons. Which is a whole other podcast. But
there's always we need to have an after-hour podcast.
Right?
After pros do it anyway.
The story behind the story, right? But at the time I got into that space, it was still very much the traditional format that it was. And something spoke to me about it. Although I loved vinyasa, I was like, I think I need this Bikram stuff. So I sat in that space and I did it.
Again, you listening to that little voice.
Exactly.
You're good at this. You've been good at this. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I didn't know it at the time, but it just, you have that calling and you just, you feel that urge to do something, you do it. So I did. And I practiced for 5 years and more and more, I fell in love with it. More and more, I would tell people, oh, you should try this. You should try this. It really helps. Blah, blah. I was seeing the change in me mentally and physically. Like I knew I was going to give this great workout. Like I knew I was going to go in there and sweat my butt off and get this great workout. But what I didn't realize is that it would help me mentally, that it would help me like, you know what, if I can sit here and try to be calm in this intense space, I think I can learn to be calm.
I can it's like my lab mat. I call my yoga mat like my little laboratory. If I can do it here, I can maybe start to do it out there.
Yeah. And so that became the attraction to me. I was like addicted to this. I want more of this. So then I was like, I've got to go teach this. And I was attracted to it because it was like, well, I don't have to make any of the poses up. The poses are already there. It's the script. They never change. It's the same postures in the same order. How hard can this be? And I'm glad I went to training when I did because back then it was in Los Angeles. I went to the last training at the old headquarters.
I've been there back in the day.
Back in the day, the huge room with 300 people.
Enormous.
Stinky, sweaty room. It was raw.
Why is it always carpet?
I don't know. That's luckily most studios now don't have the carpet anymore. And I don't know if
it was very carpety back in the day.
Terrible.
Terrible.
And I didn't know any different. Because that's where I started.
Right.
And, I was only comparing it to a little taste of vinyasa, which I can't remember what the vinyasa floor is. I'm sure it wasn't carpeted. But anyhow, so then I went and taught, and I taught yoga and I did my nutrition jobs. And at the time, my dietitian jobs were part-time. When my boys were younger, I was fortunate enough to work part-time. It allowed me a lot more time to teach yoga. So I got to do a little bit of both, do my nutrition jobs and teach yoga. As they got older, I was like, I need to go back to work full time. So then got the full-time nutrition job. Yoga took a little bit of a back seat and got to teach less yoga. But then I became like, you know what? I'm a perpetual student. I love learning
You obviously,
constantly.
you find something and you go, I have the same disease. It's like,
Right?
well, I'm kind of interested in that. Let me go get a master's in it. I'm kind of interested in that. Let me go do the 200-hour for it.
I just want more. I need something else. I need something different.
I don't want to just read the book.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I need to dip my toe in this, and dip my toe in that. So then I started exploring vinyasa, and I thought, I love this practice, and I want to go to studios where I don't teach, where nobody really knows me, where I can be a student.
It's important to have that space for yourself.
I think so.
Sure.
It is, especially when you are a teacher. I think it's good to be a student too. I think that we need to be a student.
Imperative to be a good teacher, I believe.
To be a teacher, you need to be a good student.
And even to be a good human, to balance out yourself.
Yeah.
You need to have that space for yourself too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I'm enjoying more now, even though I do still teach Bikram yoga, is honestly being a student and a practitioner of vinyasa and other yogas as well. Kundalini, as you teach, I love. And I love doing that. I love doing yin. I love doing these other things that are something that I don't teach, that I can learn from. And they're so helpful. They're so helpful. As you know, I don't have to preach to the choir.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I'm totally in my yin era right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, stepping toward that. So when my husband and I first got married, my husband, we lived in San Diego, Encinitas, which was a wonderful time to be in Encinitas. And he was deployed for 9 months, 1 month after we got married. And I was there by myself. And I had gotten into yoga before that, but I didn't know all the different types. Like I was VHS tapes on the carpet floor in my parents' house, right? Doing it when I was young.
Yep.
And then trying to find different things. And I lived in San Francisco in my 20s, and I found Bikram yoga there. It was one of the more first yoga, kind of like when yoga became kind of popular. It was more popular than some of the other forms at that time.
Yeah.
And so it was easier to find. And so I found that. And there was a studio in Leucadia. I believe it's still there. And I used to go twice a day because it just was like, I went in the morning and then I'd go walk on the beach and then I'd go in the evening.
You did your own teacher training.
Yeah, I did my own. Well, yeah, I had the same
obsessiveness
as you do. Yeah. But what I loved about the 26 postures is sometimes I can, people will say, don't you get bored doing the same thing? And for me, I can see where that could happen. I loved the consistency of seeing the edge of where I was this day and then comparing it to it's like an Ashtanga practice too, where it's the same sequencing of being able to kind of, it gets you, it's almost like a personal temperature check each day, like because you have a frame of reference as to where was I in this pose yesterday?
Right.
Where am I today?
Right.
What factors have I been sleeping? What have I been eating? How stressed am I? And then you're in that pose and and you just have so much more self-understanding that it really is a beautiful practice.
It is. It's very fun. And it's great to see exactly what you spoke of, the progress that you can attain in doing these same postures, because you do over time get better, but some days are better than others, just like life. Some days your practice is better, sometimes it's not, because of all those other variable factors going on. So I appreciated the simplicity of it. I appreciated the intensity of it, the disciplinary aspect of it. I think it draws a lot of type A people from what I've seen.
Yes.
So we're kind of, we like that. Aspect of it, but like I said, I also really love the vinyasa. I love the beauty of it, the flow of it, the different postures that you can do in it, the fact that you get to have music in it. I love music. So traditionally speaking, Bikram does not have music, although a lot of studios are integrating it now, which I personally love, but my traditional Bikram people would say, no, that's not a thing.
Do you have it at your class?
I do at one of my studios.
Okay.
One does, one doesn't.
Okay.
So I kind of get the best of both, which I love.
Okay, side story. I was doing a CAP training actually in Oregon, and there was a yoga studio, and I just needed a class. It was at the end of an end of a week of a training. I just needed to move my body, and I just found this yoga studio that had good stars, a lot of stars, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to this one. And I walked in, and there was like a DJ table, and it was the coolest thing. But it had the carpet, it had the old vibe, and I was like, oh, we're doing Bikram.
Wow.
But they had a DJ in there,
really,
and it was like a Friday evening, like a Friday happy hour class, and it was the most fun. And my body just remembered all of that sequencing. I found myself just going into the next.
That sounds like my dream studio.
Yeah, it was really
a disco ball would make it.
Yes, that would take it over the edge, right?
Sign me up.
Yes.
I love that. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So
Yeah.
what have you learned for yourself in being a teacher, putting yourself out there, trusting? I mean, you've definitely learned how to trust your intuition. It sounds like you kind of already had this desire to really understand things. I mean, like that part of
Yeah.
you that really wants to absorb as much information before, but you absorb it
Mhm.
and then you go use it somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
What I've learned, what I love about the practice and being a teacher is just helping people, helping to motivate people and helping people change and grow and realizing that everybody that steps on that mat is going through something. They may not talk about it. Some
Mhm.
people want to share what they're going through, others don't, but I know that we all do have something, whether it's a physical
Mhm.
issue or a mental issue. We're all dealing with something.
Mhm.
And to give people that space, to hold space for somebody to be on their mat and just to give them an hour or the full 90 minutes of time where this is just for them to be able to
Mhm.
take care of themselves is I love that. I love that I can help do that and lead that for
Mhm.
people. And that when they walk into the room, they might be in one mood. When they walk out, they're in a
Mhm.
different mood.
Mhm.
I don't think it's ever the case that anybody's exited the room and said, I really shouldn't have taken that class. Like,
Right.
I mean, we may have had not the best yoga experiences from time to time, but I don't think most people regret, like, that I shouldn't have taken a yoga class. It's a way of resetting the brain, the mind, the body.
Mhm.
And I love that all yoga practice can do that. So
Mhm.
that's something that I didn't realize all the benefits of how much fun it would be to teach. I knew I would probably like it, but I didn't realize that I would enjoy it just as much as being a student.
You do.
I do. I really
Yeah.
do. Even though in Bikram traditionally we don't take the class with people, we're just up there talking a
Mhm.
lot. To me, it was just so fun. But it
Mhm.
was a little alarming at first when I first started teaching, seeing everybody like face you and seeing the expressions on people's faces,
Yeah.
which oftentimes they look like they hate you.
Yeah.
Because they're working so
We
hard.
friends?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're struggling, but it's like, oh, it's not about me. It's because they're in their own body, they're in their own space, and they're working so hard.
Yeah.
It's not that they're directing, they feel they don't like what I'm saying or
No.
doing.
No, it's not personal.
Yeah.
No, and I think, for me with yoga, we talked about this with other people who hold space that, once you have a container that you're creating for people to come in and to let whatever they're going through happen or process or come to the surface for them, it is well, vulnerable share. Like I know when I go to yoga, I've practiced 25 plus years as well and taught for the majority of those. And when I go to a studio now, my body almost has this automatic reflex of allowing myself to feel things I wouldn't feel otherwise. Like I
Mhm.
can just be going through my day,
Yeah.
check box, go, busy, busy, busy. Yeah,
Right.
everything's great. And then I get on my mat and I'm like, oh shoot, not everything's great.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's not like I can't fool myself on my mat anymore.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I've practiced so long that it literally is a way for me to hear I've created my body knows how to speak to me there.
Yeah. Exactly. You listen. You're forced to listen.
You're forced to listen. And even if you try to like push it down, it just it's there.
It's there. Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of think like the confrontiveness of Bikram. I mean, I think even Kundalini is a little confrontive. Like it's aggressive.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
like these practices that Ashtanga is the same way. Like they push you to your edge,
Right. Right.
where you have to overcome something within yourself. And whenever we overcome something, the byproduct is our self-confidence increases.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. So you go in kind of no matter what you're going through, going
Mhm.
like normally our ego tells us we're not whatever we're dealing with, we're not doing good enough at it.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And so you go in with your whole bag of shit and then
Mhm.
there you are and you practice and you're still carrying out maybe possibly the same bag,
It's a little lighter, maybe.
but you feel better about it.
I can carry this.
And maybe you dropped it down,
Yeah.
and the key is don't pick it back up.
Right. I'll pick it back up.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
You're forced to kind of look at it, examine it, and then figure out, do I really need to carry this or can I can work through this? And
Yeah.
yoga practice helps you with that. The breath work helps with that, which is something I
Ugh.
appreciate so much about Kundalini and other yoga formats that do a lot of breath work. It's just, you can change everything just by the way that you breathe.
Yeah, you can.
So I love that.
Quickly too.
Amazing. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't take in fact, you could do a 1 minute of alternate nostril breathing, and
Absolutely.
you will
Change
literally change the way your brain is
Exactly.
thinking and moving, and your heart,
Yep.
and you will change your whole rhythm.
Right.
It's crazy.
And you have that tool in your toolbox always. You're a person who's breathing, hopefully.
Yeah.
And you can do that once you learn the right techniques. You can do that
Yeah.
on your own. And
Yeah.
and I think that's imperative that people know that there are different things, tools and tricks that yoga teaches you that if you even can't get to a class, that you can do on your own,
Mhm.
whether it be a stretch or a move or a breath technique.
Mhm.
Like you can do that. You can take care of yourself. And I think yoga gives us a lot of tools to practice on our own to help us feel better.
I couldn't agree
So
more.
yeah.
I also think like yoga is a reverse technology to improve what you do put into your body,
Mm-hmm.
because it teaches you to listen to your body in a new way. So you don't go to a 4:30 yoga class and then go have a horrible dinner
Right.
as easily as if you didn't do the class.
Absolutely. It
Right?
really makes you pay attention, which I think is the nice tie-in for me doing what I do, being in the nutrition space and then yoga space. It's like it's just another way of
Mhm.
enhancing that ability to listen to yourself and to take care of yourself and to want to put good things into your body. Because when you've just done something good for the body, why would you pollute it by putting something bad in it? You're really
And
gonna
you're
pay
not
attention.
craving it as much
You're not
either.
craving it as much.
No.
It literally and I can't tell you how many people, as I'm sure you're aware, that will tell you like, oh, I started yoga and I started naturally eating better. I'm like, yay, it's working. It all ties in.
Yeah.
So
That's the holistic.
and it's
Yeah.
the holistic approach. It
Yeah.
all, looking at the whole big picture, it makes sense.
Mhm.
So I love that. That's why I continue to be in this space. I don't have to teach yoga. I want to. It's like the yin and yang to what I do in my job and in the nutrition space and the yoga space. It goes together.
Yeah.
So I love that about it.
Yeah. What do you wish people just understood more after, your years, your personal experience? What are the kind of the common things that, I wish everybody could just know this.
I just wish that everybody could know that it's not complicated in terms of nutrition and diet, if you will, that it's just eat real foods, eat real, whole, natural foods most of the time. Pay attention to what you're eating. When you sit down to eat a meal, if you were lucky enough to sit down, pay attention.
Yeah. And actually maybe do sit down.
Yeah, do sit down. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give yourself that respect of the time and the place and the space to honor what you're about to do. Make it like a little ritual and notice what you're eating. Like, did this thing that I'm going to eat, did it come from nature? An apple, oh, this came off the tree. Yeah, I can eat this and enjoy this. This piece of meat, this fish, this salad, it's real food. Those things, paying attention to what you eat and that just eat real foods. And if you do happen to eat something that's out of a bag, a box, or a can, look at the label, look at the pay attention to the ingredients, see what's in this that you're about to eat.
If you can't understand it,
If you can't understand, it's probably not great for you. If you don't know what these ingredients are, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. I think too many people want to complicate the field of nutrition and diet and the way that we eat, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I just wish people would take the complexity of it out, because it doesn't have to be hard or complicated or have a name attached to it or a label. It's just eat real foods more often than not, and try not to overeat. And if you are eating real foods, you naturally won't want to overeat them. It's really hard to eat 10 pounds of carrots. You're just not going to want to do it.
No.
But it certainly is easy to eat a whole bag of Doritos or something. It's really easy. These foods are very hyper palatable. They're made with ingredients that are made to make us addicted to the foods, and that's a problem that's gotten a lot of people into trouble. So it makes me kind of sad that here we are with all this information at our fingertips with the internet and information, but yet our society is not as healthy as we could be, because we have all the good stuff and we have the not so good food choices. But I think also you have to kind of take away the shaming of food, because the minute you tell somebody you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't have that, it's going to make people hyperfixate on that food, and that's going to be all that they want to eat. So something, as I'm sure you're aware, dealing with people with eating disorders and whatnot, you have to make food just be this, it's all out there.
It's fuel.
It's fuel. It's all, there's some better fuel than others. And
high performance,
and low performance. And if you put the high performance stuff in your body, most of the time you're going to run at a higher energy level. You're going to feel better. The proof is in
You'll feel
the
more vibrant for
food.
sure.
Yes, you'll feel more vibrant. You'll look more vibrant. You'll notice the difference. So yeah, just that's what I wish more people would pay attention to, and that they knew that that's just it doesn't have to be complicated. But that message in and of itself is not exciting. It's not new. It doesn't sound that sexy. It's like, what? Just don't I need to do this? Don't I need to do that? Don't I have to be on this program? You just got to go out there and eat real food.
Well, and where you're going to right now, I couldn't agree more. And where you're going to right now, it just feels like it's like, it has to be all or nothing too. Like, you know, I'm going to do this new fad and I'm going to get into it 100%. And I think what's also missing is the simplicity. And you said it a little bit ago, you alluded to it, where it's most of the time. So I think that the idea too of moderation.
Absolutely.
And that allows for you take away the rigidity of this is good or bad, or these foods I can never have, because every once in a while, I mean, if Doritos are your thing, have a couple Doritos. Okay. If you want, you know, and like whatever on the weekend, have something that makes you feel good or celebratory on your birthday or whatever it is.
Totally.
But moderation, I guess, in almost all areas of life.
Exactly.
It's just right.
It's key. It's absolutely key. I mean, you talk about that. I'm a huge chocolate fan. Love chocolate. Love chocolate cake. It's like my favorite dessert. Right? So I mean, I'm never going to tell somebody just be mindful. Be mindful about what you're eating. How often are you?
Yes, chocolate's kind of good for you, right?
Yeah, dark chocolate. We got the flavonoids. We have the good components in there, but just be mindful. And if you know that there's a food that is maybe not the best choice, maybe don't have it stocked full in your pantry. You know, if you really craving Doritos, go out and get a little bag and be done with it. Not the big Costco size bag. You don't always have it available. If you know that that's a trigger food for you, maybe don't have it easy access to yourself all the time. So again, the mindfulness of it, the making better choices, yes, most of the time, but not all of the time, because then you go the direction of having like the orthorexia or the hyperfixation on everything has to be super ultra healthy or not. And that's not about that either. No, it's not the extremes. It's like we need to float in the middle somewhere and be in a livable space, be able to enjoy life, enjoy food, because food is for sure one of the pleasurable things about life and being human is that it tastes good. It's a gift. It's a gift, and we're meant to eat food, so we want to enjoy it. But let's be knowledgeable about it. Let's be educated about what we're eating and why we're eating too. Are we eating for hunger? Are we eating for boredom, like we were talking about earlier? Just pay attention to those things too. So
I also I know we could talk forever and I probably need to start wrapping up, but I also want to just like comment on like the sitting down or the being more, like to your point, to the mindful, even just, you know, whether it's in what capacity, but blessing your food at some capacity, you know, even if it's just gratitude, you know, I'm thankful that, you know, or if it is beyond that, but just even the blessing puts your whole body in a different position to be able to receive the nutrients of the food, whereas you can have some influence and some impact on your own metabolism, on your own, the absorption rate of your own body, right?
The mind-body connection, the setting the stage for what I'm about to put into my body, and the digestibility of it, I think is it could be improved so much. Just that simple concept of being grateful for the food that we have, that we're eating, that we're about to put into our body, is huge. Thinking that, you know, not everybody has access to this, not everybody can eat this or has this, and being grateful that you can at that moment put this nourishing food into your body. I think, you know, calms the body, calms the nervous system, makes the whole digestive process easier. That opposed to, we all have to sometimes eat on the run or eat in the car or whatever. But even then, you can still take a moment and go, thank you that I have this food that I'm about to eat in my car while I'm trying whatever. I'm
barely tasting because I have 2 minutes.
I shoved down my throat real quick, but I still appreciate it. I can make that few second connection to be thankful and be appreciative of the food that you're about to put in. So.
And sometimes even knowing where the food comes from. Like I'm in a big farmer's market. We've been going regularly for the last couple of years. And just knowing and then meeting the people that are growing the food and getting to know them. And I don't know, there's just like, there feels like there's a blessing on the food because of that whole like community connection of it too.
Love a farmer's market. I think that's a huge thing, a good tip that I think a lot of people could partake in. And go to your farmer's markets, eat locally, eat seasonally. If you don't know what something is, ask the farmers that are there selling it. They'll tell you what it is.
Where do I put this in?
how do I eat this? What
Yeah.
can I do? Look it up on the internet. There's a gazillion
Yes.
different recipes and tips and tricks out there to
Yeah.
find how to make said food. You know,
And then
try a
it
new
becomes
vegetable.
fun.
Yeah, it becomes a fun thing to do. Try
Yeah.
one new vegetable or fruit a week.
Yeah.
And make it fun. You'll maybe discover you love something that you've never had before.
Yeah.
It can be fun.
Yeah.
Food is fun.
That's perfect. So just learning more about your personality style. What is the most passionate thing for you? What's next? What's your next going to go learn everything about it?
Well, one thing I am currently just really, one of my big passions that I love right now is just the whole field of women's health in general. Even though I don't work in that capacity as a woman myself, being a postmenopausal woman, this is something that I'm hugely passionate about, is talking to women about the stage in their life, which finally now.
Well, we need more talks about it. I'll tell you that.
We definitely do.
Yes.
And finally we are. I'm seeing out there in the space that more people are talking about it, but it's just crazy to me because you think half the planet are women, and we will spend half of our life in in a postmenopausal state. Why are we not talking about what that looks like, what that feels like, what that can be? This is not a time of life where, oh my gosh, it's over. No, I actually love.
I feel like I'm just getting started.
Exactly. I love being the age that I'm at, and I feel like this is a very fun time. But in history, it was like, oh, once you're past a certain age, life is over. Oh no, it's just a whole great new chapter. But it is a permanent chapter when you think about the phases of women's health. You think about puberty, which is temporary, pregnancy, temporary, perimenopause, the time before menopause, is temporary. But once you hit menopause and after, that's permanent.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? What does it look like for a woman when she loses
Never really
her
thought
hormones?
of it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a permanent state. And what does that look like when a woman loses the hormones, particularly estrogen, that's been the fountain of youth her whole life? What does that look like for the body? And I don't think most women know about that.
Yeah.
And when I talk to them, it's amazing to me that women, are still very scared of hormone replacement therapy. And I've due in part to the study that I worked on as a young dietitian, the Women's Health Initiative, which the statistics for that study were completely skewed, scared many women and their doctors
Unfortunate.
from HRT. And I just, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for the women in that space at that time that thought, oh no, I can't do this. This is terrible for me, blah, blah, blah. So that is something that I really love talking to women about is that what does it look like for you? What does it look like for you when you're in your 40s and things are changing and your hormones are going wacky and you don't know why you're feeling anxious, why you can't sleep, why you're having sweats, why you,
So true.
The hair loss, all the things that happen leading up to menopause. This is why.
Yeah.
You're not going crazy. It's just your hormones.
And it doesn't affect just one part of your life.
It's everything.
Everything.
It's everything. And I think that women, we need to know this. We need to be talking to our young girls about this. And the men. The men need to understand for the women in their lives, this is what your woman's dealing with. This is
how you can support her. This is how you can understand her. This is
why she's acting the way she is. This is what she's going through. We need to have mass education on this. And we are, but
it is getting better.
It's getting much better now. Thankfully, there's a space, that we're hearing this, but there's also a huge marketing aspect to it. So now people are glomming on to, oh, I can market to certain people. And then there's this whole, menopausal women should be eating this way. It's no different than everybody else should be eating. It's just, eat whole foods. Again, move your body, move and do some
reduce your stress.
Reduce your stress, sleep well, eat well, move your body, get some strength training. Our muscles are important.
So simple, right? Here we are, back to the basics.
We're back to the basics again. It always comes back to that.
I love your just don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, we don't have to. We don't need to. But that's what I'm really passionate about right now. It's talking to women about that, because it doesn't have to be this time that you think, oh, life is over. It's like, no, this whole chapter is just beginning. It's an exciting time of life because there's many things that we don't have to worry about anymore. We don't have to worry about menstruating. We don't have to worry about getting pregnant. We don't have to worry about things that as a young.
There are some upsides.
There's some upsides for sure. I think that we can go into that era of life in a healthy way, but we also have to be educated because there are some drawbacks to losing our hormones that are scary that we don't know about. It's not just about hot flashes. It's about the fact that we're instantly aging in the body when we lose our estrogen on the inside and out, our heart, our bones, our brain.
And that's the reality.
It's the reality. And those are things that we don't feel until a disease of those things happens outwardly. So we need to be prepared for what's going to happen. And can we counteract that with some therapy if it's appropriate for the woman. Every woman is different, even though we're all going to go through the same thing. No two women are alike in their aging process and what other risk factors they have. So be educated. Have a good conversation with your practitioner and know what is appropriate for you, but have that conversation. Don't wait till it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
That's something I'm really passionate about now.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do with that. So I'm sure you'll do something
amazing. I'm out there. I'm waiting for something good. Yeah.
And in the interim, I'm just happy to be surrounded by women who are embracing this chapter of life. So thanks for being my friend.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be your friend.
Yes. So how do you live with your heart wide open?
I live with my heart wide open by being open to any and all possibilities of what's going to happen in your life. You never know what's around the corner. You never know what's going to happen. The thing that you least expect could be the best thing for you. And I think that's what's so exciting. So being open to what you think you may want may not be what's meant for you. I think the Rolling Stones had it right. It's like what you don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Yeah.
And having that mindset of there's all these possibilities that you don't even know of yet.
Yeah.
That are out there waiting for you. Just be open to that. So
flexibility.
When I hear heart wide open, that's what I think of personally, is just be open to the possibilities that may exist for you in your life in all capacities.
I love that. And it's perfectly timed because we are learning more and more in our culture. We can control less and less.
That's
so
for sure.
Yeah, if you just trust, like, this is what's meant for me.
Yeah.
And look what I didn't see before.
Right.
It's like, and be open to a new way of doing it. It's a really like flowy, happy, like it brings a lot more, it's a lot easier to find joy in that way of living for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes when we force things, they backfire and they may not be the best thing. I can tell you that in certain jobs that I've tried to go after, that I thought, oh, I need this, I want this, this is the thing for me. And it really wasn't. And I'm glad that those certain things did not work out.
Thank you for that door in my face.
Thank you for that door closing, because this other door opened that I didn't know I needed to walk through. And it was the better door, but I never would have chose it initially.
Right. It doesn't always feel that way in the process.
No, it doesn't. But now in retrospect, we can learn that. I think that's another great thing that comes with age and maturity, is that you start to see this through your life. Yeah. And this is something I try to impart to my sons as they're young adult men. Like, hey, just be open. You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything today.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful to have you here. And I just think there's so many little gems and wisdom. So I know everybody that's listening is going to get something really special.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So continue to follow Alice, continue to follow the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. Please subscribe, and we look forward to next time. Thank you for joining us on the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. We appreciate your time, energy, and attention. Whether you're watching or listening, please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Stay up to date with us at heartwideopenwellness.com so you don't miss any upcoming events, offerings, or retreats. Until next time, keep your heart wide open.